I'm okay.
Officer Involved is a documentary about officer-involved shootings that explores the perspectives, memories, and challenges of police officers who have used deadly force in the line of duty. Produced and directed by an active-duty police officer, the film showcases the science of shootings, but places focus on the unseen impact that a shooting can have on an officer. By looking at the effects of being involved in a shooting and the aftermath for the officer, Officer Involved will show a side of deadly force rarely seen outside of the law enforcement community.
Once the actual shooting is over with, the vast majority of the event is still before the officers. The aftermath of the shooting is typically a lot more demanding and stressful than even the event itself. The event is over in 3 to 5 seconds.
Contrary to the overarching narrative in popular media, instances where an officer discharges his or her weapon in the line of duty are extremely rare events.
Only about 1% or less of all police calls for service result in the use of any physical force at all.
Though there is no all-encompassing study on the frequency of officer-involved shootings in the United States, the overwhelming majority of police officers will go an entire career without ever using a firearm in the line of duty. Media and television have both influenced perceptions of our officers and how they should react in lethal situations.
You don't sell newspapers and you don't sell commercial time by being sensitive to the human behind the shield. You create sales by sensationalizing the event.
Those involved in a shooting will have trained an entire career for that one time where they may use force.
Now, this is a must-shoot situation. We had senior commanders, we had tactical officers advise us on this. We've got an individual aiming the weapon right at a victim, okay? Every one of our tactical officers, every commander says it's a must-shoot situation. Officer has no choice but to shoot, okay? 11% of our civilians agreed.
The lives at both ends of the gun are abruptly changed forever in the wake of an officer-involved shooting. In this film, we attempt to bring a look into what it's like for the officer. Those men and women who are involved can go on to intense internal and criminal investigations, often are the subject of protracted media coverage, and can find themselves at the center of public debate.
Policing is the only occupation I can think of where we take the employee and we send them out to do their job. They get out there, they do what they are expected to do, what in fact they've been ordered to do, which in fact they would even be derelict in their duty to not do it, which is to protect themselves in public. They use the equipment that we gave them, they use the training that we provided to them. They do it under the threat of life and death stress. They do it very well. And then when the whole thing is all over with, they are now going to be a de facto suspect in a felony crime.
All this because the officer went to work that day.
I got a call for grand jury. I guess after my experience with that, I'm a little more thankful because I know, sometimes the emotional strain that puts on them, the position that puts them in. God forbid that someone should treat me the way that this man who did his job in protecting us, God forbid someone should treat me that way for doing my job.
Officer-involved shootings are often framed in terms of police versus citizen encounters, and powerful versus powerless exchanges. This framing neglects the distinctiveness of the individual behind the uniform, and that a use of force can leave physical and psychological scars on the officer himself.
Last words that Kathy heard on the phone was, "Oh shit, I gotta go." And the next time that we talked, it was after the shooting was over.
Also overlooked is the undeniable impact it can have on an officer's family.
The officer is now a different person than she or he was before this incident. And the person you fell in love with and chose to share your life with is not the person you're sitting with now.
The husband and me that didn't want my wife to come to a scene that I basically caused. That's what I thought in my mind, that I caused this scene. I shot somebody, the person's dead.
There's no more occupational group in the world that's more sensitive than police officers. No one cares as much. No one is as easily hurt as police officers. But that's on the inside. You don't show that out.
And filming Officer Involved, we've traveled across the United States and have met some of the most interesting, honest, and down-to-earth people.
I don't like some police officers interpersonally because many of you can be very irritating to me. But what you stand for is something I value greatly.
And we've only just begun. There's so much work left to be done on this project. We don't know where it will end or what the final film will look like, but we're ready for wherever this project takes us. From those who have written about, studied, and lived these events, we're building a picture in the purest sense to show what it means to be an officer involved.